Incredible evening. Incredible evening, everybody. All right. So, incredible evening, everyone. How are you guys doing? Excuse me. We are going to talk a little bit about money. Money, money, money. Money. I was trying to go right at 8 o'clock, but I had a call, so I couldn't. But we are live. I'm ready to go home. I'm a little tired and I have a session tomorrow. So I'm going to do my best to push through this so I can go home and get some rest. It was a fun-filled day, to say the least. And so a lot of eventful things happened today. And I've been live quite a few times today on all platforms. So, it's just one of those days and I'm a little tired, but I had this on my schedule to discuss today at 8 o'clock. So we're gonna make it do what it do, make it do what it do, what it do, what it do. But hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? I need to go over here. Let's do our at everyone. We are going to talk a little bit about whether or not the math is mathing. Do your profits make sense? Are they making sense to you? So I asked you guys that as I am sharing this out and putting my at everyone and all those different types of things. I want you guys to answer honestly for yourself. Is the mathing for you in your business or your side hustle, your way to make pocket change or mad money? Is the math? Are your profits making sense for you at this present day? This present day, is it working for you? All right. So someone says, no, not yet. All right. Thank you for that honest answer. In that you have identified the fact that it's not making sense for you right now. Um, let's go ahead and switch that over. I am back able to actually make posts and comments in my group. I'm so happy about that. Um, so just give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and share this out. So again, hello everyone. Thank you guys for joining. I'm going to do the full on intro in just a moment. But the question on the table right now is the math mathing? At this on this day, do your profits make sense to you based off of where you like what you would like to make? So they technically might make sense based off of your experience and where you're at, like the current juncture you're at in your entrepreneurship journey. However, it just may not make sense to you. And I'm here to help you get a little bit of clarity on why it may not make sense. But then, if you really, really want to dive deep into this, I suggest that you join me on tomorrow for our full on seminar. All right. Ooh, excuse me. Um, so we did that one. All right. So all done. I'm not gonna like do too much sharing. I did the at everyone in my groups, and we're gonna just kind of go from there. All right. So hello, hello, hello. Incredible evening, incredible evening. Hello, everyone. Thank you for dropping those peacocks, Miss D. I appreciate it. Thank you, Cora. How are you? Uh Yes, we 10 toes, 8 toes down. Incredible evening. Someone said, okay, that was the not yet. Incredible evening. No, not always, not at all. Nope. Yes, I need to keep doing it so that it can math. Nope. Usually every once in a while a bump hits and I just make even. Okay. Me and one of my crafting sisters were just talking about this. Hello, hello, incredible evening. How are you guys doing? Thank you for jumping on. Thank you for dropping those peacocks. All right. So let's see any comments over here on whether or not the math is math when it comes to your profit. So let's go ahead and get right into this because, like I said, I want to be able to wrap this up. I want to go home, I want to go eat, and I want to go lay it down. So and I'm freezing. I just had a bunch of ice. So y'all know when it's like this, that I'm gonna probably take it off. But when most times when I first come on, just know that I just got done eating some ice and I'm freezing. So yeah. All right. So I am Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365. We are the home of the amazing product line that I actually helped develop part of my product line because going back and forth a lot of different things and working very closely with my manufacturer. So we are the home of the Honesty Speaking brand of products. We carry sublimation ink, sublimation paper, pigment ink, and other accessories such as your cartridges, syringes, and things of that nature. We also are the owners of 365 Creative Academy, where I help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of classes, such as pricing for profit, learning how to use Solar Studio, Photoshop, different things to be able to help your business and more. And then last but not least, Silhouettes Anonymous, which is my free online platform where I have been teaching you guys to use Silhouette Studio as a graphic designing software because it is a free software that you don't need a machine in order to use. And it really helped my business and it definitely helped my profit margin and just saved me on time. Time really does play a part in how much profit you can actually make. So I am very grateful, even with all of its craziness and hiccups and stuff like that. I am very grateful for coming across these Silhouette Cameo machines and like the Silhouette family of machines because it really, really has helped my business where I was doing everything. When I say by hand, I mean by hand. I am a master at cutting with scissors and an X-Acto knife. I mean, everything from intricate cuts of paper, foam board, cardboard, using foam cutters. I used to do a lot with like cutting styrofoam and stuff like that. And for the paper part of it, it just made it so much easier when it came to creating templates and having to measure and do this line and rulers. And like it was just taking up so much time. I'm telling you, how I use Silhouette Studio and how I use my cameos. It's just far beyond just your regular print and cut or cutting vinyls, like me using it to create foam board and soft foam templates. It was just amazing. Like I'm so grateful for finding this where it was something that wasn't too expensive like when I first started because of course all of the big machines and stuff were out there but to find that and it was something that was affordable and it was for me easier to pick up on it just made a world of difference and it just made me to where I sit today to be able to educate you guys. All right. So that's a little bit about who I am and what I do. And like I said, see, I knew it's going to get hot real quick. So we're going to go ahead and take this jacket off. All right. So someone says, I missed the question. So the question was for you right now at this current day in your creative business, your customs business, your crafting business, is that if that is what you call it, is the math method? Are the profits making sense to you right now? And the key word in that is to you, is it making sense? So that was the question. So she says, no, the math ain't mathing, but honestly, it's simply because I ain't working. You got to actually do the work to make it make sense. My math is mathing because, of course, I've taken from you. However, I'm just not getting sales. Other people are cheaper. That's why I'm taking my designs to a next level with your classes. I remember watching you. It was amazing. I just want to tell you how amazing you are, and thank you so much for sharing so much information. I've learned so much from you. Oh, that says Facebook user. I'm gonna have to go back into my Facebook groups and see who that is because it's not showing me your names right now. But thank you so much for that, and thank you for tagging a few people. It seems like you're tagging them in the group. If it shows up where there is like a slash next to the name, that means they're not in the group. You may want to go over to like click on my name and go to the broadcast that I'm broadcasting from my profile or my public business profile and tag them over there. Okay. Okay. So let's get a feel for the room, right? Let's find out, what do you guys think, or, for you, what is a good profit margin? What do you think the average profit margin is across the commerce industry? So just anyone like just selling things, what do you think what is the average, and then what is a good profit margin? So I'll pose that question to you guys and give you guys a little bit to answer that. So someone over here says 20%. Over here, as a whole, as a whole. So 10 to 15%. Okay, 20%. The question was, what do you think what do you think the average profit margin is? What do you think the average profit margin is for businesses? So someone says 30. So do you think that's the average, or do you think that's a good profit margin? So we have some that are 10 to 15. We see some 20 and things like that. All right. So you know what? I'm not even going to entertain you. I don't even care. But do you think that that is an ideal profit margin? So based on that, if it's 10 to 15 to 20%, is that a profit margin that you are shooting for in your business? So, what if the market dictate that? Yes and no. There's still what is considered to be like, once you go, and yes, some people are higher, some people are lower, but there's, when it says average, I mean, it's really kind of just looking at the industry as a whole and what the average profit margin ends up being once you kind of take account for those who might be on the lower side, the higher side. So we're talking about the average. I'm shooting for more, but I think that's average. She says, I need at least 50%. No, I would hope for 40. So what if I told you that the actual average, um, which this actually seems, I mean, I'm not sure when this one was done, which is kind of low because most of the research that I have done before, it's about 8%. Now, this just says in a New York report on US margins revealed the average net profit margin across different industries is only 7.71%. So this might be a little bit, based off of like inflation and things going up because in my notes from before when I kind of had this talk about profit margins and things like that, I actually I have written down 8%. So this says, according to the NYU report, it is actually 7.71% is the average net profit margin across, most industries. So on here it says, as a rule of thumb, 5% is considered to be really low. That's you're probably making that like from sales, closeouts. You maybe want to kind of be in that, in that range. 10% is a healthy margin, which is why previously, like the average was around like 8%. 10 is healthy. 20% is actually considered to be a high profit margin. So we have some saying that I want 10, I want 40, I need at least 50. But on average, we're talking about, let's just say high 8s to 10. 20 is considered to be great and it's considered to be high. Of course, we want to be able to make more than that, but just across the board, industry standards, that's where it sits. Does that number shock some of you guys? Does that seem really low? Someone says, I need to do more homework. Ah, really? Yes. However, that is with lower supply costs. Okay, wait a minute. I would hope for 40. That's with lower supply cost. And we're going to kind of dive into that, not necessarily full on in here, but tomorrow I'm really going to break that down, how when you are able to get your supplies lower, how that definitely affects your profit margin. Learn something new every day. So that does seem pretty low, right? Seems about right when accounting for everything. And let me tell you what you just opened up right there, Cora, right? Is when you are accounting for everything. And this is where I find a lot of crafters kind of miss the mark, because what do you consider to be everything? So because Ms. Cora put that out there, I will ask you guys. So when it comes to you calculate everything, because do we understand the difference between gross and net? Gross and net, two different things, right? And knowing the difference between those and where you kind of fall at is, what do you consider everything? When you are pricing and you're thinking about your pricing, what all are you thinking about? What all are you calculating within this price point that you have created? Yes, it seems low. Like we want to think, we want to make 40, 50, 60, even 70%. There are some people who are able to get those high percentages, but on average, most don't. In something like a restaurant industry, because food costs can fluctuate so much and food costs can be so high, they really don't see a big return, which is why many restaurants don't survive past a few years. So someone says your electricity. So all expenses, supplies, shipping, software, utilities, rent, time. This is why I struggle with pricing. Okay. Anyone over here? Time, designs, colors, product costs. Okay. I calculate literally everything down to my tape and time. Okay. So that means, okay, so I'm not sure how you package. So do you put like thank you cards and all those different things in your boxes, or like when you're shipping stuff out or when you're giving to your customers? Do you put those little additive things in there? And if so, is that a part of the cost to make that product for you? And then my other question to you would be, um, sites that you do you have any subscriptions to any sites such as Creative Fabrica? Do you have sites like do you Creative Fabrica? Like, say I have Vector Stock. Do you pay for Remove.bg? So do you have any of those subscriptions, and are you accounting for that in how you price? And now that question kind of goes out to everyone. Do you calculate those things as well? If you have a website, are you thinking about those costs? If you have subscriptions for various things, are you calculating those costs? For any type of learning that you're doing to elevate, does that play a part in how you price? So I'm not saying that it's a direct factor, but does it play a part in how you price? I know we should, but I'm not certain how to break it down per item. Okay. Yes, all of that, even my stickers that I make myself, I have subscriptions to those as well. All right, so you are on the right track. So may I ask for you, because I'm not sure if you were the one of the ones that said the math wasn't mathin for yours. For you, I'm going to kind of scroll up to see. Well, you dropped the peacocks. So I'm not sure if you answered it. So whether or not your math was mathing for you and your profits were making sense for you, being the fact that you calculate everything, down to your time, do you feel like what you're charging now is sufficient? I'm sorry, just waiting on responses. So, because I always don't now, like sometimes when I go and I kind of talk past it and then someone then goes in response, then I have to come back to it and remember my train of thought. So, um, she says, I don't calculate them properly because I count one sale to cover monthly. Oh, yeah, we definitely cannot do that. Um, because then, like, if our sales are, even if you calculate it, I guess you would say what's considered to be properly. If the sales still aren't coming in, you still can't meet that budget. How many of you guys have a budget for your business and know what you actually have, how much money you have to spend on the things that you are going to need for your business? Do you have a budget? She says, "Oh, we'll definitely talk tomorrow." I look forward to seeing you in the session tomorrow. A good question. Hadn't really added education and design programs make sense. 5 to 7% makes 5 to 7% makes more sense. Okay. Yes. Are you meeting your budget? Are you being honest with how much time you have to be able to actually create these products? Um, are you being honest with how disciplined you are to actually be an entrepreneur? Because it requires a certain level of discipline on your job. You know that if you don't show up on time, there are consequences. If you don't finish certain tasks within a certain time frame, there are consequences. Most people want to start their own business and have this thing where it's them and they're the boss, because they don't want to deal with those, like, I guess, stressors. No one might tell me what to do. I got to clock in, clock out, whatever. But we don't realize how important and how valuable that is, and how we really need to be disciplined, have that type of structure, because without it, we find that we're not being as productive in our business. We go when we feel like, okay, now it's like it's free time. I can do what I want. Um, I'm not under someone's, time clock. I can do it later. And sometimes we procrastinate. We really procrastinate. Once we become these business owners, we're thinking about our own business. We don't put, as because there's no one holding us accountable, we do things that on a 9 to 5 we wouldn't. So we are giving. There's it's almost like you respected your 9 to 5 more than you respect your own business. You're going to be dedicated to making sure that you do everything that they require of you. Your business requires a lot, but you don't put as much effort into that as you do someone else's business. So someone says, no, I have been winging it. Let me tell you what's great about winging it, though, right? By winging it, you know what doesn't work. So now when you are exposed to things that you can do to make it work, you're going and you're applying the things that didn't work for you by you winging it, you become dedicated to doing better. You're going to avoid the winging it, the things that you do when you're just winging it. I don't know. I don't like this whole thing. It says messages, but it really is just that fact that someone liked the video, someone shared the video. It's so weird to see that, like, for that to come up. All right, so so we're at, I'm going to go through a few things, and know that we are going to dive deeper into this because I can't really do it. I'm letting you know now, tomorrow is at a minimum a 3-hour session. What I have liked to now, if you're in the creative business program, you'll get bits and pieces of it and understand how all of this pieces together, like all the aspects of business. But for this particular seminar and this particular session, I'm going to have to throw it at you quick, fast, all kind of in one session, as much as you can actually absorb in 3 hours. So I am not saying that this is going to be some little quick session. We're going to dive into it. So make sure you had your lunch, clear the kids out, give them some money, send them somewhere, let them go out, so that you're not distracted, because we're going to be in this session for 3 hours, because we're going to break down so many aspects that you probably did not think of. We're going to start from those who don't really need or aren't ready for a really structured system for your pricing. And I'm never going to be one to say that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Ideally, you want to account for everything, but some of us are just not there. But you still want to be able to make money. So I'm going to break it down to where, when you don't account for these things, and if you just kind of have this number, okay, I need to be able to make this amount per month, you can still figure out which pricing structure is going to work for you. If you don't have a lot of time, really understanding how much money can you realistically make, because how many products can you realistically make in a certain period of time? If you are everything for your business, you are the designer, you are the production, you're in production, you're doing the marketing, you're the social media manager, you're doing the shipping, you're doing customer service, you're doing follow-up, you are the accountant, you are the janitor when it comes to cleaning up. when you're doing all of these things, it cuts into the time that you have to actually produce things. So while you're not reaching your goals, you are beating yourself up and you really are maxed out. They're going to get to a point to where you're maxed out on your profit power, how much you can actually make. I'm going to help you identify when you've reached your max. What's the max that you can make in any given week, any given day, any given week, any given month, quarter, or year? And how can you increase that over time? You may not get the profit margin that you want. You may not make the money that you want. If you are getting, if you're starting this and you didn't really like kind of like maybe start something to be able to make some money, and then that money paid for the next piece of equipment that you got, and you're building that way, you're going to still feel like you're in a lot of debt or you've invested a lot of money and you may not see the return on that investment. There is no rule that says, or there's no rule that says that you're going to see a return on your investment in 30 days, in 60 days. For some people, they invest so much money into their business, and whether it's like through their own personal investments or if they have to get loans, and in pricing and having like, getting your profit stuff, you have to pay back that loan before you are free of that debt and that obligation. It can be a year, it can be 2 years, depending on what it took for you to get started. So we have to think about that as well. If you are someone that's looking for a return on investment, you've paid this money for these things, and it's like, okay, well, I hear people say, oh, well, I got a roll in and I made my money back in 6 months. Okay, yeah, that's for that. But what about everything else? Like they're probably saying as far as like the roll in itself, but it's not like you buy material one time when you first got it, and whatever material you had for that, like when you first brought it, that's the material that you're making all of this money off of. You're going to have to re-up and you're going to have to get supplies. So I hear people say, oh, I paid for the rolling in 6 months. Okay, so you probably made enough money that covered that. But what about everything else? We're not really considering that part, to where are you truly free from the debt or the investment that it took for you to start this business. That is what I'm going to help you figure out. And there's going to be some key factors. So if you're not able to join, you can write these things down. Come back to this video, write them down, and I want you to think about it. I want you to do your homework on it. If you have to watch other videos, free videos out there, find someone who may be out in YouTube University that can help you, or you can go ahead and invest 5365 and get a lot of these questions answered and get some guidance through figuring out some of these things. So I'm going to give you guys time if you want to write it down now, or you can always come back to the live video. But we're going to go through some things that you should consider when trying to make the math. Oh, thank you. Yes, you got to wear all these different hats. Like, I mean, it's a whole lot of hats, a whole lot of hats, a whole lot of hats. I can honestly say for me, like for me to not work, I don't use my time properly. I don't create much unless I have orders. I don't make items just to sell sometimes. I'm very unmotivated. Okay. So someone says grabbing their pen and paper, pencil and paper. All right. So I talked about budgets, right? You have to figure out what your budget is. How are you planning to buy your supplies? The name of the game is to buy low and sell high, so that you can maximize those profits. I was talking earlier today, when I was over on TikTok about I used to work at the arena, right? Aquafina water. It's not anything that is, or let's just even say Pepsi, right? It's not something that is special specifically to the arena. It's just a 20 ounce, is it 20 ounce, 24 ounce? Pepsi, somewhere in there, right? 20, 24 ounce, somewhere in there. And the cost that they buy it from and for, and they're buying it in bulk, they're buying pallets and pallets and pallets. So they're paying less than what you would pay in store for just one, or from a vending machine for just one. They're paying way less than that. However, when you go into these places like the movie theaters or sporting venues, for those of you who like to drink and things, like you partake in the spirits and you go clubbing and out to restaurants and stuff like that. If you go into a liquor store, or just you go into a store and you buy the Hennessy, the Bacardi, the this, the that, all. I don't really drink like that, so those the ones just came to my head. I'm not sure if that's what people. What is it, Ciroc, stuff like that? It's going to cost significantly less, depending, significantly less compared to places like clubs and restaurants and things like that. Your Pepsi is going to cost significantly less if you go to a store versus you getting it in an arena. But there's so much more that happens there, to where their overhead and their budget, they have to price it. One soda can cost this, for us, it would be like I can buy a whole case, and they're darn near charging a case price for one soda. But there is a reason for that. They understand what all they have to actually pay for. So you're gonna buy low and sell it for much higher. And there's a industry standard, because they people say, okay, price gouging. Some people consider arenas and movie theaters to be price gouging when they're pricing stuff out, like they really, really do. But that's not, like, that is industry standard. There's a certain markup that you can do for it. Some people don't even understand markup and how you should mark things up. But you want to create and establish first a budget for yourself, right? A part of that is going to be, how much do you need to actually have for your personal finances? Your business is not your personal bank, I guess you would say. I'm going to say it like that, to where every dollar, every cent that comes into it, you can go and take that and say, okay, I need to pay a bill, I need to do this, I need to do that. Because when it comes to buying supplies for your business, you're not able to do that. You're going to have to rob Peter to pay Paul, to get supplies for the next order. So I know it is very tempting to take all of it and transfer it to your personal account to take care of certain bills and things. And if you have to in the beginning, don't get me wrong, if that's how you have to operate because you really, really need it, fine, so be it. But do make a plan to where that's not going to always be the case. You should not be operating like that day in and day out, months from now, a year from now. That should not still be how you are doing business. Okay. Um, Yes, of course. There is a recording for this. You can always go over to Honestly Speaking's YouTube channel, which I actually should have probably put it on 365 Creative Academy, but it's okay, because I need to build up some watch hours over there. I think next time I'm going to do on 365 Creative Academy. That's my situation right now. And I understand that that's sometimes someone's situation. So I'm not going to say that it's necessarily wrong, just that you cannot function as a successful business staying in that pricing model, because I'll show you how to price it. If you just need to be able to price so that you can meet a goal, to be able to pay a bill. Right now is grad season, as so you guys know how many parents are trying to figure out how to scrape up money to pay y'all for all of this grad stuff, when they have all of the obligations with the schools and stuff like that. And I just saw one of my former cheerleaders, that she just had a senior military ball. I'm like, okay, didn't know they did that. And so that's a whole, she had on a whole dress. I'm like, man, think about homecoming during senior year, prom is coming up, senior breakfast. So some people may, as a creative entrepreneur, you may be trying to sell grad stuff to other graduates and and their families and their parents, so that you can pay for your own kids stuff. Like, everyone's situation is going to be different. The problem I find with when some people talk about pricing, they want to give, and sure enough, we want to give you the ideal scenario, but that doesn't work for everyone. and you don't find too many people that's gonna teach you and give you some guidance on, okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm not there right now. Can you help me in my current situation and where I'm at right now, and at least how to not be spending more in supplies than I'm actually making? Like, I just need to start there. I can help you with that. So like I said, figure out what your budget is. What do you need? Even if it's like for a full-on business, like I said, if it's for just a need, or what's your light bill? You want to be able to sell these to cover your your living, like your expenses as far as utilities, light bill, water bill, cable bill. What is that for the month? And then now think about everything that you would have to do for your business, like your subscriptions and things like that. You want to be able to pay your Photoshop subscription. You want to be able to pay your Creative Fabrica. So there's a certain amount of money that you need to be able to take care of your expenses, but also be able to maintain the subscriptions that you need to get the files and get the resources that you need, right? What is your budget for buying, honestly speaking, submission paper and ink? How much ink and paper do you need? Are you going to be able to actually buy that, set a plan to say, okay, it costs this much for this size paper. I'm going to need this many packs. I'm going to go through this amount of ink. So at a minimum for the supplies, not even the blanks, just for the ink and paper, I need this much. Or do you guys just go and say, okay, well, I'm going to buy paper when it runs out. I'm going to buy ink when it runs out. And then you run into the situation of, dang it, because you tried to wait until it runs out. I don't really have the money right now. You go in your printing and realize, oh, dang it, I was to my last drop of ink. Now what am I going to do? Because you can't really go into stores to go find any ink. You have to set a budget and a plan for how often you order things and whether or not you have a surplus of supplies. So that's going to be the first thing, set a budget. And doing that budget entails like really, really sitting down and writing what your expenses, are. The next thing you're going to do is be honest about the time that you have to actually create, and remember all of those different hats that you have to wear. That's me with your paper. Look out for my order. I shouldn't have read that. Now that just threw me all off. Hold on. That just threw me all off. What part was I on? Being honest with how much time you actually have to create. How many orders can you realistically make within a day's time, a week's time, a month, if you want to plan out that far? And based off of how much you're able to create and what the average cost of these things are in your area and who you are marketing to, are you going to be able to meet that budget? Or does that budget need to kind of, do you have to now take some stuff away? Because, man, I mean, I can only create so many shirts. I can only do so many tumblers. Or I can only do so many of these pieced together all over shirts. We want to be able to do those, but is it really smart to do? Is it a good move to start doing these shirts where you're piecing them together for orders? You're already limited on time. It takes a lot to do these and print them out on this one printer that you only have one printer. You're trying to print everything out on one printer for front and back all over shirt. Then you have to go and tape it all together. Then once you tape it all together, you have to put it on there, spread it all out, do all these different things. Then you got to press it in sections. And because y'all using that other paper, you're pressing 60 seconds and it's taking you much longer, right? So you're doing that. How many shirts can you realistically create in, a few days? So if someone had an order of 20 shirts front and back, that is 40 different sides of a shirt. How long would that take you? Would that take up the majority of your week to where you cannot make any other orders whatsoever? So it's not to say that you should charge more because, man, this is taking up my whole week. You have to now determine what smarter moves can I make where it's not going to take up as much time and I can increase how much I can actually produce, which is going to increase how much profit I make for that week. Make sense? And she says, nope, all overs are a totally different beast. I mean, well, I don't really subscribe to doing all over shirts as far as piecing them together. For me, if I'm gonna do an all over shirt, I'm gonna outsource at least the print and press it myself, or I'm gonna outsource the whole thing and I'm just basically gonna get paid for my design. Or this might be one of those situations where you doing it yourself, yeah, you might pull in and you might profit 20, 30, 40%. But the industry average is 8. You're still making money. If you only profit $8 off, I mean 8% off of this, it's still something. But because we have it stuck in our head that, oh well, I got to do it myself because I want to make 40%. I need to make 40%. But you're doing so much work and you're cutting into any other profits that you can make. Is that a smart move? Is it a smart move to maybe sacrifice so many other orders and so much more profit because you just I just can't, like, oh my gosh, 8%, I'm not taking 8%, I need to make 40. Okay, you can make 40 and it's going to take you the majority of the day to do it. Someone says, yes, I need to talk with you. Wait, what I do? um my designing is my weakness. I need to pick up my speed and I always second guess myself. So she says, yes, outsource. Um, so how much time do you realistically have? Right. So once you determine how much time you have, what all can be made and are there, now you're going to have to identify what are some quick, fast, and easy things that can be done. They're kind of no brainers. What is, dividing into those like categories like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? What are some really easy things, really simple to do and make? You can do a bunch of them at one time. Like for me, the cards, the summation cards, that's something where I can fit 25 on a 13 by 19 sheet of paper. And I can print that out, and let's just say somebody wanted 25 of them. It's 2 prints. It's going to take the same amount of time to print out one big design as it does to print out 25 prints. So if I was doing 2 shirts, I could print those out. But now I can take those and I'm able to make more money off of that. So there are going to be certain products and certain tasks that's going to technically yield you more money, even though what you charge is actually less, because you can get more done at one time. So mouse pads, I probably can fit 2 if I had a large format printer. I mean, well, I have a large format. If you have a large format printer, the most that you can really do is like 2 mouse pads at a time on 11 by 17 or 13 by 19 paper. Now, coasters is one that, you definitely can get more on a page. So it's going to be identifying those things that you really can do in bulk just by printing. Some things are naturally bulk items. Someone may say that they want to get a lot of shirts, and we may have a bulk order for shirts, but you still have to do those one by one by one by one, when there are certain things that in one 30-second press with Honestly Speaking summation paper, you could have 25 things done in that one press, 25 units done versus 1 unit if you're focused on a shirt. So identify out, go and look in your creative space, your craft space, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is that you do, whether you make chip bags, if you make custom 3D letters, if you do foam board, if you do balloon decor, if you do sublimation, if you do, and these are all the kind of the custom stuff. Now, if you're someone that has, like, you make things in bulk, you make soaps where you're going to create a batch of it, and then from that one batch you can get several bars of soap. From one batch of mixing for candles, you can pour it in and you get several candles from that type of industry. Is a little bit different than when you are doing a lot of customized items. Are you someone that does digital products where you only have to create it one time and then it's going to keep making you money? So for you, it might be you are going to spend a lot more time promoting and marketing, and branding those things, because you need to make sure that you're getting traffic to it, because it is a low ticket item. And for you to make money off of that, you need more people to actually purchase it. So there are different structures. There's different ways that you will price depending on your industry. It's not a one size fit all. My goal is to help you identify what pricing structure is going to be best for your needs, for your business, and exactly what it is that you're doing to make money. I keep seeing things pop up. I can't tell if it's actually like questions and stuff or comments. And yeah, it's more so like just likes and stuff like that. I prefer to allow someone else to design because it cuts down on the designing process. It really does. We are going to go over that. What are the benefits of having someone else design and paying them to design? How do you account for that, right? If you're wanting to grow into a larger company, you may end up eventually having someone who is your art department. A lot of companies run that way. There's the art department. You have to pay that person. Your business profit will pay that person. You and what you take home is something different. I'm going to help you identify the separation of business and personal. We keep saying that we want a business and we want an LLC to separate business from personal, yet we still consider, we're not going to commingle funds. I'm going to have my business account. I'm going to have my personal account. But yet, and still, you just pull from the personal account, the business account all willy-nilly to go to the personal account, without any structure. There is no agreement between you and your business to say, hey, I'm gonna need you to do what you need to do, because at the end of the week, I need you to pay me this amount. At the end of 2 weeks, I'm looking to make this amount, like, needs to come to me. Or at the end of the month, this amount needs to come to me. So business, I'm gonna need you to make it do what it do, because I have to get paid. There needs to be a separation of the two. So I want you guys to identify what are if you want to do tier 1 through a tier 5, and you're really breaking them down off of like what things can be bulk, what are going to be like easy items. Then I want you to also think about what can you create from one design. So I'm not sure if some of you guys saw like the memorial things that I did. There was a lot there, and it can seem like that's a lot when it comes to designing. But once that first item was done, so many other items can be produced from that, and they don't all have to be the same. So once I did all this work for pictures and things like that for each page of the obituary, I was able to take those pictures and just simply rearrange them to where I was able to create and produce a lot more products. So from that one, it was the obituaries, it was the customized rags, it was which it was right here, and I had it for visual purposes, and now I don't see it. I had the card right here, but I had the card. We did the roses because I already had the picture. We had, it fell on the floor. There were shirts. I did tumblers. So from that one design, which, let's go over here and pull this and this. So by the time, and it took some time to design it, but in designing this, so take note of that picture. Take note of that picture. Then there's this picture over here. Okay. And editing those out already. And then there's different pictures in here, and also the colors, right? Choosing my fonts already. Choosing my text that I know works well in small print. And then like this. So in creating this, I had the fonts that I was going to use, the colors that I was going to use, the images that I was going to use. Oh, the casket panel. So starting from there, once it came to everything else, all I had to do was kind of have the boxes or, know the measurements, and I'm just moving things around. I did not have to redesign for everything. So what are some things that you can do? So we like to have these graphic shirts. We want to go and get certain things from Etsy, but how many different designs and how many different layouts have you planned around these images and things that you purchase, or are they only good for one thing? So if you purchase a file or you create a design that cannot be transformed and properly resized and repositioned for other things, that that setup, that design limits how much profit you can yield from that. But how I designed this, like I said, it was the obituary. That one picture, it ended up being the picture that was here. Didn't have to change anything on it. The color was already, the blend mode was already there, everything. The name was already done. Already had the dove. The background is the same. Forever Our Angel. Oh, wait a minute. Where did that come from? Let's see. Boom. Forever Our Angel. And it was written this way. So I ended up just kind of changing that up a little bit. That goes there. The dates and stuff were there. Gone, but never to be forgotten. Where did that come from? So we just go ahead and pull that from here. All right. So then we come over here. Oh, wait a minute. Is that not the same thing, just in a different spot? Forever My Angel. Her name is the same. It's the same picture that is right here. Actually, it's the same. It's the whole front page because her other picture is right there. It's the name. The bottom part is the same as an obituary. Okay, so we're going to turn over. Remember, I said, remember those pictures. There they go right there. Her name is the same. In Love and Memory, there's just a poem there. The doves are the same. On her casket panel, it was the two different pictures. It was her name in the middle. It was Amazing Grace. It was still the, like, what's this? What's this thing right here? The diamond strip. It all was the same. So that was something where my profit, oh, wait, I forgot something else. There's that picture. That was the other picture that was, where was that one at? I don't remember, because this one don't have a crown. I said, remember one of these pictures. I don't remember which one it was. But so now I was able to turn that into where I had shirts. The Estella is the same. All I did was different was it was the same exact font on here. I took the S. I added an S to it. And instead of just leaving it like this, because there's no glow and all those different things, okay, it just got some wings to it. Then it's like there's all these things. This is the same font that was on here. So I'm able to create multiple things from that one design. So my profit power from that one design, I'm now able, without any effort, even if they don't buy it, I'm able to, without any, like, not any major effort, not spending hours and hours and hours again, I'm able to set them up and offer it to them and say, hey, this is something else. So I am increasing my profit margin. How many of your designs are like that? The things that you do you even know how to easily transform things into different templates? So what education have you gotten as far as design? It's one thing for someone to show you one template, but do you really know how to transform that into different items? That increases your profit power. So that's one way. What do you have design wise? What do you have knowledge wise? Do you have the knowledge to take designs and make multiple things from them? Think about what can naturally be bundled together or presented to your clients. They may come to you for one thing, but what can you add on and say, hey, we can, for this cost, we can add on this, because what you're doing is you're eliminating your design cost and the design time, because it's pretty much already done. Okay. So break that up. You need to have a list of kind of like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, as far as how much money it could potentially make you. Oh, sorry. Thought I saw. Okay, yeah, I did get a message. All right, gotta wrap it up. Gotta wrap it up. Gotta wrap it up. Gotta wrap it up. Okay. I got to go back now. I think I've got to go back. Okay, so we talked about your budget, um, your time, your designs, and then the last thing is identifying, like, making a list of vendors and where you're getting things from. So it's kind of like in the beginning part. It should be kind of towards the beginning, like when you're creating your budget. But if you only have one place that you're getting things from, they run out, they're sold out. What does that mean for you? Does that mean that you now have to like get something last minute and pay more? You should have a good list of people, a good list of like sites and vendors that you can order things from. What are some things that you can actually order in bulk and order a good amount of them, to where once they are sold, you're actually saving more money? Look at your supplies and see what can you really buy in bulk, what needs to be those, okay, purchase by the order type deals. Things you need to know that as well, because that's going how you have to buy these things. You can plan out your month and plan out your budget a whole lot better when you know how much things are going to cost. And a little tip for you: whatever you see on a website today, account for at least a 10% increase for inflation. And that is what you're going to base it off of. Because if you go by just what the price is today and it shoots up, now, it might go up more than 10%, but at least you had that buffer. If you didn't account for it at all and it shoots up 15%, you're really going to be looking like, oh man, like I'm losing too much money, and you're going to be frustrated. So when you should always be reevaluating these things, checking your prices on your supplies, seeing if your suppliers have changed theirs. When you go and you're not, and you have dedicated places that you like to get things from, it's a lot easier to um to monitor those things, because you'll set a schedule for yourself to check their prices to see if you need to now adjust what your not to say like what your, not to say your markup is, but it's just kind of like that's just your baseline. You need to change what your baseline is. But whatever you, if you want to kind of do this exercise, you want to go back right now and look at the places where you buy supplies from, take that price and add at least 5, I would say 5 to 10%, just in case there is an increase. You know how many people were like, when the Dollar Tree went up 25%, a lot of people just see it as 25 cents. But I'm not sure if y'all know, they actually did a 25% increase, which most people don't do. They don't really go that high, but they figure because it's just a quarter. But in the math of it all, that was a 25% increase. That's just crazy. Um, so um oh, she says like flow from progressive, bundle and save. um I added matching bags to my shirts and created a combo for 45. Um how much do you sell just the shirt for? So she said 25. So you added a matching bag for $20. Yeah, plus the tax. No one thought that's $1.25 plus tax. So not only is it an increase, you can only get 8 things for about $10 instead of 10 things for $10. Yeah, and the taxes, because you have to now pay the tax on that 25 cent, not just on that dollar. But yeah, so you want to look at what the cost is and add a little buffer to that to account for inflation. That is something that's going to really help you make sure that you stay within your preferred profit margins in case the market shifts. Now, if it gets to a point to where, hey, you're now getting at a better price, don't adjust your prices. Those savings, that additional profit is for you and for all of your hard work when you were, you were struggling. And it's like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna meet the budget. So if the prices drop for your supplies or you can get like a better rate on it, don't think that you have to pass that savings on, or now you're going to adjust your pricing lower because you're getting supplies lower. That is a very, very bad thing to do because you got it on sale. When you find stuff on sale, some of you guys like to go get your shirts from Michael's when they're running their sale. Don't base your prices for your customers off of what you're paying for it that day. You should, I don't care if it's on sale, if it's regular price, this is the price of these shirts. Do it based off of whatever the highest that you would have to buy the shirt for it at any given time is what you should be basing your prices off of. Um, this information is what you need to start with. Do not sell yourself short. And listen to her. She is telling you the God's honest truth. I've learned the hard way. And I'm telling y'all. So that's we're at an hour and I gotta go. I'm hungry, my food getting cold at this point. So hopefully this gives you just a little bit of insight on how to start preparing to price your products. There are so many other factors. You have to also understand what some people's overhead is, right? So we talked about kind of like your expenses as far as like where most of you guys will start at, and you're working from home. Yes, it should be a small portion of electricity and things like that. There's a way where you don't have to account for that to the dollar. And I'm going to share that with you guys on tomorrow on what you can do as far as your electricity and things that you would use in your home that's for your business, and how to make sure that you're pricing enough to kind of meet what that expense is. I'm going to break that down for you. But if you're interested in like really getting all of this broken down, I was saying overhead. You never know what someone's overhead is. So like for me, before when we were in our house, I didn't have as much overhead, right? So I do have things like, our business insurance, the liability and the property insurance and the owner's insurance. We have a warehouse that has our stuff on it. So we have to worry about the rent over there. And there's so many other expenses. Some people's overhead is not what others' overhead is. So you can't just go off of, okay, this person is saying that they're charging this amount. And you're like, man, I don't understand how they can make a profit. What if they don't have a lot of overhead? What if all of their supplies came off, it just happened to fall off of a delivery truck and no one was there to claim it? So they said, okay, hey, I'm gonna take this home with me. That becomes full profit for them. They didn't have to pay for it, however they got it. So you can't go off of that. If that's not how you operate and how you do business, you can't base your profits and your prices off of that. You have to know the facts about your business. What are your overheads? What are your costs associated with it? I always give the example of we are able to keep our paper price where we are at compared to some of the others in the industry because we don't spend money on things such as putting the name or putting an identifier on the back or spending money on a box that may potentially be thrown away. So we are able to pass that savings on or be okay with the profit margin that we are getting at that particular price. We can really be pretty much getting the same profit margin as someone who put a lot more. I'm not going to call them unnecessary because it's probably necessary for them for branding and marketing purposes, but we could technically be at the same profit margin even without all of the other overheads and how much they pay for the completed, like, for everything they put into their product compared to what we put into ours. So I don't want you guys to ever kind of like fully compare yourself because you never know what someone's situation is. What you want to do is have get with someone or do the work yourself to find out what is going to work best for how you are running your business, side hustle, right now and at this present day. Okay. So if this is something that you are interested in, join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is 53.65. Yes, there's a price to it. I mean, I get up here and I've been on here 4 times today giving out free information. And contrary to what y'all think, YouTube really don't pay like that because y'all really don't be watching ads like that anyway. I'm also broadcasting to Facebook. I don't get paid for none of that when it's in groups and stuff like that. So, I know how some people like to get and kind of call, but I have tools and resources to make this an easier process to determine what prices are going to work for you. So it is 53.65. It is going to be a minimum of 3 hours as we break this down tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time via Zoom. You can head over to our website, shop.hsinc365.com, so that you can be in the room or at least have access to the playback. All right. So I hope every last one of my classes is recorded for you to be able to go back and watch the playback. I open up the floor for a lot of questions. I'm not one to where it's just kind of all this information and just kind of throwing at you. And somebody else's question might be, dog, that's exactly what my situation is. And you'll get an answer from it. But every last one of my classes is recorded and you get access to that recording for an unlimited amount of time. It is yours forever. You paid for it. It is at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Eggs are finally going down. And I would not change my prices. If your prices went up because the price of eggs went up and they paying it, I would leave your prices for your cakes, your pies, or whatever it is, your deviled eggs, whatever you were making with them golden eggs that cost way too much money. Keep on charging it. Keep that ball rolling. Because it was probably a time where you left them prices the same and you were still paying for the increase in the eggs. Now is the time to recoup, when you weren't, before you adjusted your prices. Your price is the price. McDonald's doesn't adjust their prices, nor shall you. Good night, Professor, and thanks once again for your gems. You are very welcome. Right? I want to pay for the product, not the packaging. All right. So yeah, you can just purchase it and then you can have access to the recording. How much is the pizza tumbler? What pizza tumbler? How much is the pizza tumbler? Oh, you mean this? I was really like, no, for real. I was in real professional mode. I forgot yesterday I was being petty. So I was like, wait, a pizza tumbler? What you talking about? I forgot. My tumbler that I made with my pizza that got everybody up in the upper. I was really in like teacher mode. Like I had got away from the petty. See, now you have brought me back to that moment because I really. So this lovely gem is 1563. If you would like your very own, it's all about the peacock. It really is all about the peacock. So if you would like the pizza tumbler, these actually no, this one and there's the one that my husband is the ones that was actually made with the pizza. So you guys are getting the one that were made in the oven that I will probably end up making food in when Dining Money's birthday comes because it's the bigger oven. But yeah, so this, if you want this, is 1563. If you want a no, is it 13? Hold on, don't have me lying. I like being honest, so I'm not going to tell fibs. Not going to tell fibs. I'm going to go look at the website and see what the heck it says. 1563 with the review, it's 2365 because then I have to go in there and change certain things around. If you would like a 10% off code, good until July 4th. Good until July 4th. That code will be good on all Honestly Speaking products, HS Inc. digital products, and 365 Creative Academy courses placed on, like if you place the order on the HS Inc. website. So classes, products, and digital files. You will be able to scan your cup. It's going to take you to the website where your discount code will automatically be in your cart. So if you want the 10% discount, it's $33.65. If you want the 15% off, what is good on everything on the site until July 4th, it is $43.65. All right. She says the pizza tumbler. That was funny. Um, Thank you. Girl, me in the Deep Woods Diva TV on YouTube. Girl, stop letting them people hold you longer. We will see you next week or at the seminar. Go eat. I am. I had to close out though. Hey, look, that's marketing and branding. I had to close out and let y'all know what's available. But yes, my stomach is saying, feed me, Seymour. I don't did my stomach wrong 2 days in a row and waited too long to dang gonna eat. But yeah, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Remember, if you are already enrolled in the Creative Business Program, you don't have to purchase it. If you are someone who signed up for the Profit by the Numbers, remember we had all those technical difficulties with my internet, you should have received an email telling you to go back to your dashboard because that link is there. So if you signed up for Profit by the Numbers, or if you're in the Creative Business program, do not go on the website and pay for it. Just go to your dashboard and the link is there. Okay. The link is there. All right, y'all. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.